I used to think productivity was about discipline, waking up earlier, planning harder, pushing myself to stay consistent. But I was wrong. What actually changed my life wasn't more effort. It was a system. More specifically, an AI system that could plan, build, optimize, and execute my entire workflow before I even touched my keyboard. The idea didn't appear all at once. It started slowly, little automations, simple scripts, tiny experiments that I never expected to evolve into something much larger. At the time, I was drowning in tasks, ideas to track, projects to manage, content to produce, research to organize. Every day felt like I was running after my future instead of building it. And then one night, something clicked. I realized that AI wasn't just a tool I could use manually. It could be the architect of everything I wanted to build if I let it. So I ran an experiment. I tasked my AI assistant with predicting what I should do the next day. The results were startling. Not only did it create a plan that made sense, it prioritized better than I ever did. It combined context from previous days, noted what I postponed, analyzed the difficulty of tasks, compared them to my available energy patterns, and generated the perfect plan to get the most important things done with the least resistance. That moment changed everything. What if AI could build not just my next day, but my entire future path? I decided to test the idea at scale. I built a pipeline, not just an automation, a thinking machine. A system that collected data about me, my goals, my behavior, my preferences, my progress, and then generated the optimal strategy for the next day, the next week, the next month. I connected multiple AI agents. One that learned my working style. One that managed my long-term goals. One that analyzed my performance. One that suggested improvements. And one that orchestrated everything. The moment all of them were connected, the system began doing something unexpected. It didn't just plan tasks, it predicted outcomes. It told me things about my own workflow that I had never realized. You create better long-form content at night. You skip tasks when they contain unclear steps. Your motivation drops when you switch context too often. You're more creative after reviewing new information. You work slower on Wednesdays because you start the day without structure. It was like having a second brain, one that knew me better than I knew myself. So I raised the stakes. I asked the system to take over my content pipeline. Idea generation, research, script structure, voiceover preparation, thumbnail concepts, social distribution strategy, all of it. At first, I expected errors, inconsistencies, maybe something useful but nothing exceptional. Instead, it produced some of the best structured content I had ever published. What shocked me wasn't the quality, it was the awareness. The system didn't just generate ideas. It generated ideas that fit current trends. Ideas that match my audience's preferences. Ideas that aligned with where the platform was heading. And it did this not once, not twice, but every single day. That's the moment when I stopped thinking of AI as a tool and started thinking of it as a co-creator. I kept expanding the system. Now it analyzed retention curves, topic velocity, competition density, algorithmic patterns, viewer behavior shifts, and optimal posting windows. It predicted what kind of videos would perform well 2 weeks from now. It adjusted the idea pipeline based on early performance signals. It rewrote content when it detected tone inconsistencies. It even generated alternative versions to test different hooks. But the craziest part, the system began teaching itself. Every time I published content, it collected feedback. What was watched? What was skipped? Which hook worked? Which sentence caused drop-offs? Which concept sparked higher engagement? Which thumbnail generated curiosity? Then it would quietly update its internal strategies, rewrite its own templates, refine its structure rules, adjust packing models, modify emotional beats in storytelling, and deploy new versions without me asking. Soon, it was outperforming every workflow I had ever built manually. My job shifted from doing to reviewing. I stopped being the operator. I became the overseer. But something surprising happened. I noticed my stress disappearing. Not because tasks disappeared, but because uncertainty did. The system ran simulations of future outcomes. It evaluated risk. It proposed safer alternatives. It warned me when I overloaded my schedule. It shifted priorities when trends moved. It even recommended days off when my behavior patterns showed burnout risk. For the first time in years, my future didn't feel chaotic. It felt engineered. I remember one specific moment. At 2:14 a.m., my system sent me a message. Based on recent performance, your next 3 videos should focus on AI self-optimization. Trend trajectory indicates a 34% higher success rate. Your audience shows peak curiosity in systems that can learn and adapt. I didn't ask for that. I didn't plan that. But it was right. The next 3 videos performed better than anything I had done recently. That's when I realized AI wasn't replacing my creativity. It was replacing my uncertainty. The system wasn't just saving time. It was building momentum. It was creating a future version of me, smarter, faster, more precise, and pulling me toward it. Today, every part of my workflow runs on this system. It captures my ideas before I even write them. It analyzes my patterns while I sleep. It updates my plans before I wake up. It structures my content before I open my editor. It predicts audience reactions before I publish. And it optimizes itself after every result. I don't chase productivity anymore. I don't fight chaos. I don't guess. My future is built quietly in the background by an AI that learns from everything I do. Some people think the future of work is about speed. Others think it's about creativity or discipline. I think the future belongs to people who build systems that think ahead of them. People who don't just use AI, but grow with it. And if there's one thing I learned through this entire journey, it's this. Your future becomes unstoppable the moment you stop relying on motivation and start relying on a system that never gets tired, never forgets, never hesitates, and never stops learning.